In this episode of Sailing Nandji, Yosh gets some waves before we set sail to the famous Kennedy Island. I explain the fascinating story of John F. Kennedy's survival during World War II. We set some sails once more and Yosh gives a rundown on how our hydrovane self-steering works. Then we squeeze Nandji through this tight bit of reef.
We're leaving old Gizo town, heading over to Kennedy Island, which is pretty exciting. That's the island where JFK swam to in World War II once his ship was destroyed. But we're just leaving Gizo here, and there's these few little waves on the reef. So there's no wind, it's real glassy, so Kennedy might just need to wait a couple of hours. Bit disappointing. The Solomon Islander out there. It's the first Solomon surfer we've seen. Would have been good to get a few waves with him.
Yeah, just as you pulled up the anchor, he went out.
Yeah. Pulling up the anchor in 20 metres isn't fun. Sorry, buddy.
You don't want to do it again?
Yeah.
Oh.
Delightful. Had a surf, now we've got a little bit of wind, perfect little westerly, so having a sail now off to Kennedy Island. We'll go see old mate now. I think you can buy a beer on the island too, so it's a pretty good thing.
I've just finished washing everything from the monsoon that we had, and the other night we went out, we left one of the windows open, and of course it rained, and so everything is saturated. Like, all of my clothes are wet and they need to be re-washed. I'm just like so over this. Just lock up.
Yeah, we just lock up. Like, lots of different anchorages. The thing about the Solomons is that they own the land and they own the reef and the water around, so it's not actually public. And so where some spots where you anchor, people come out and they ask money for the anchorage. Highest we've been asked is 500 Solomons, but you're dreaming, mate. And
that would be like 100 Australian
that's like
dollars.
100 Australian. So yeah, no, you just be cautious. So, we just give them a little bit of money here and there if you think it's worthwhile, or if they're the chief or anything like that. But people will come out and try to undercut the chief and that sort of thing as well. The people who we do give money to, we'll normally invite them onto the boat and talk to them and discuss to them about it and see what they want the money for, rather than, if you're just taking money to go buy smokes. We're not about that. But if it's going to a good cause, like, we give them money to help build houses and that sort of thing. And yeah, so it all depends on what the cause is and how much they ask for and how beautiful the anchorage is.
Most people know who John F. Kennedy was, but do you know what he was doing before he became president? I'm at Kennedy Island here in the Solomons, and I'm going to find out what he was up to.
Can you get?
Good boy. Oh, it's a beautiful day.
With no close anchorage to Kennedy Island, we took our little Ladiva and the black anchor on a 1.5 nautical mile trip across the lagoon.
Looks pretty nice to me. Thank you. Thank you. This is the island.
Hello.
Mali, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So you're the caretaker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking after this island.
Ah, very nice.
Very quiet.
Yeah.
This is Joel. He's the caretaker of Kennedy Island. Yeah. And
You stay here by yourself, Joel?
Yeah, me and my wife.
And your wife. So you don't get lonely?
Yeah.
Joel's got a bird called Kennedy that we might meet later.
Yeah, a little
Show you.
parrot.
Yeah, he's gorgeous.
Exciting.
Story about JF Kennedy.
Yes, yes.
Bring the pieces of war, put it here.
Beautiful.
Plane, and some of the guns more. We put it here. And here I see that yacht. Ooh.
Hello, Kennedy. Kennedy. Hello, Kennedy. Molly.
Hello. Look at my friend. It's okay. Here you go. In 1943, Kennedy was on a patrol boat, PT-109, patrolling this area for Japanese vessels. At 2:30 in the morning, they were struck by a Japanese destroyer. Their boat split in two, and they ended up swimming to the nearest island, which is this one that we're on. Kennedy gathered all the men together in the middle of the island, and they hid from other Japanese vessels hiding in like a depression on the island. They swam to different islands over the next few days, trying to find food, water, and trying to attract some of their allied forces. On Nauru Island, they found a box of candy and a tin of water, and they also spotted two islanders that ended up paddling away. When they returned back to this island, Kennedy found out that those two men had come here, and the other men were able to convince them that they were Americans and not Japanese, and so these guys ended up helping them. Kennedy wanted to get a message to his allied forces that these men needed to be rescued. So he returned to Nauru Island with the two islanders, and they showed him how to scratch a message into a green coconut. These two islanders then took that green coconut to an allied force, which was the Australian Coast Guard. The next day, 8 islanders returned back to Nauru Island with food and water and instructions for Kennedy to go to Evans Post. So that's what he did. They hid him in a canoe and covered him up with palm leaves and took him there, where they were able to devise a plan to save the rest of the men that were still on this island here. It was exactly 1 week after their boat had sunk that Kennedy was able to organise a rescue mission to come and save the rest of the guys off the island here. It's a story of bravery and courage, and it just shows that Kennedy was a natural-born leader. He was willing to risk his life on several occasions to save those of his fellow men, and it was a successful mission in the end. A big respect also to the islanders that risked their lives as well to help save Kennedy by taking that coconut to the Allied forces in Japanese water, and also hiding him in their canoes and bringing them food and water and keeping them alive. So well, Yosh was on the island here before with me with Marley, but our cameras both died, so had to go back to the boat, and we can't anchor here, so he's just motoring around out the front. But we did have a beer for John F. Kennedy and the islanders as well, which is something that you can do on the island here. So alright, it's time to leave.
Patrons, head on over to the treasure chest for this week's feature vid. We visit a beautiful resort and meet a few other fellow Aussies at the coolest bar ever. Let's see how Bonita feels the next day.
The cheeky little wine. Hello. Hi, John F. Kennedy Island.
So a few crew have asked how the hydrovane works. We'll give a little lesson upon it because it operates a bit different than all the other self-steering sort of things. The other self-steering ones have like ropes that come to the wheel or tie off to the tiller, so they use the boat's rudder to steer. The hydrovane's a bit different because it has its own independent rudder. So first step basically is to have the boat nice and balanced with your sails. And then so you get the wheel or your tiller holding it on course of basically where you're going, and then you lock it off. There's a bit of force on it, you know, so your rudder's not going to be centre. It could be a bit off to the side just to hold it to where you want to go. And yeah, so we lock the wheel off. It helps when there's a little bit of breeze. So we've got about 8 knots or something, and it's pretty well on the beam. So, but just to engage it, we put the counterweight into roughly about the apparent wind. So say about there, because we're about on the beam. We're picking up a bit of speed now. So a little bit forward, pull our pins out. Sure all the pins are free. And then it's got 3 gears here. So all the way to the left is like nice and gentle. Second gear is we found it about 15 knots. We put it into the second gear, and we haven't had to go into the third gear. That's for real rough weather. So we haven't tested that out yet. But when we had 30 knots, we were only using the second gear, and it was sweet. So for the light winds like this, we'll put it all the way to the left. And when it's perfectly upright, that's facing into the wind, and then the vane falling to and fro either side, that's what turns the rudder either left or right. It is important to monitor any shift in wind, as the vane will continue to steer you in the direction you have set. Other than that, kick back and have a coffee.
Race against time at the moment. The sun is going down, and we are trying to get through the entrance of Norrow again. So it's that skinny reef passage that we just picked through. So do you think we're going to make it, Yosh?
Yeah, it's touch and go. It sucks that we had to download the app again, so we haven't got our previous track. So yeah, we're running blind again. Should be right, mate.
Should be right. Reckon we can do it?
Yeah, we've got a mile to go.
Yeah.
Probably got 20 minutes of light, I reckon.
Yeah. Ew! I love the sail! Sailing canoe. There you go.
Keep going left. Straighten up, straight wheel. Go to your right a little bit. Yep, straight ahead. Keep going right a little bit. Keep going right, keep going right. Okay, straighten up. Around to your left. Just snuck in. Well, it's dark now. We got the deck light on so we can zip up and pack up the sail. So, whew, that was a bit of a close one. Glad we'd come in here before, because if we hadn't come in here before, there's no way we would have been able to do that. Poor Bonita, our steering, she couldn't see anything down at water level, so she was just running on my voice. So
yeah,
lucky she does as she's told.
It's not straight either, is it?
It's not straight, no. No, you did really good. Well done.
Ooh. Didn't kiss the reef, didn't kiss the reef, didn't kiss the reef, we didn't kiss the reef, didn't kiss the reef. What's going on?
Oh, this damn toilet. It's not flushing again. So, I don't know whether it's the wiring into the pump or whether the connection's from the wiring, but my voltmeter is playing up, but lucky Mum's coming soon, so we get a new voltmeter, but I'm kind of running a little bit blind, so I'll just change these connections and clean up some other terminals, and hopefully the toilet flushes.
Yeah, we kind of need the toilet, don't we?
Yeah, there's kind of a nugget under the lid right now, so...
It smells?
Yeah, it's not the best job.
There you go.
Thank you. Bonita's family have come and gone, and now it's my turn for my mother and her husband to come for a visit, so we're a little bit late this time around. We've been to the shops to get some food and everything, so heading back through the Diamond Narrows on the way to see my mother. We haven't seen her for like 12 months, so actually a little bit excited to see her.
Hello!
Since we're in the vicinity of Australia, they've made a big deal about coming here to the Solomons to come visit us, and as we keep heading west before we head across the Indian, I suppose they can come visit us again in Indonesia, in Bali, so it's a bit of a cheap flight from Australia, but as we keep heading west and head across the Indian, we're heading a long way away from Australia, so it makes it a lot harder for our folks to visit us. So it's very nice of our family to come and visit us like they have. We're motoring in, but you got to come in under sail. Coming up next on Sailing Nandji, my parents come to visit us from Australia. Blessed with beautiful weather, we do all the activities: kayaking, fishing, diving. We visit Skull Island and talk about the dark Solomon history of headhunting. We freedive a World War II plane wreck, explore the Bonita lagoon, visiting some of the many secluded islands, and take you diving on some of the most pristine and diverse reefs we've ever seen. Our videos are made possible by the Sailing Nandji family. Become a patron to help keep the froth and get this old girl around the world.